Booktube, it's Janet and I've got my first reading update of 2018. So far this year I've read 3 books and all 3 have been 4-star reads for me and I'm really pleased with that. The first book I read ticks off the first of my light blue contemporary read square on my Bookopoly board, and that is The Little Tea Shop of Lost and Found by Trisha Ashley. Just let me show you how gorgeous does that little tea shop look, and this was just what I needed at the beginning of the year. It is potentially classed in the genre of chick lit, but I've mentioned this before. What the hell is chick lit? If a book is appealing to women, is it not chick lit then? You know, I will read books by male authors, female authors, and is there a reason why a man couldn't read a book like this? Sometimes you just want a hug in a book, and this is exactly what this is. It's set in the village of Haworth in Yorkshire, where the Brontes come from, and that's a place that I absolutely love and I go to several times a year because it's not very far from where I live. And it follows the story of Alice, who was adopted when she was a young child, and her father was an artist who absolutely adored her, but it turns out their adoptive mother basically just went along to please the father. When the father dies, the mother loses a lot of interest in her, so Alice has drifted from place to place for quite a lot of her adult life, and she has really no anchor. It turns out that Alice was actually found as a newborn on like a craggy outpost in Haworth, and we follow the story of Alice. Sort of she's been through a few relationships that weren't perfect, and her latest partner that she was with suddenly dies and she's a bit of a loss, and so she's sort of like mid-30s at this point, and she starts to think, actually I need to put down some roots and I need to know who I am. So she actually buys this rundown old tea shop in Haworth, and also while she's setting up this business she starts to see if she can uncover the story behind what happened that she ended up to be left as a newborn baby on a cold morning in Haworth. And I just love the story. Obviously there's a romance element in there. I love all the details about setting up the tea shop and deciding on the menu and all the quirky characters, and it was just what I needed. If you just want something that goes along, that just sprints along and makes you happy and doesn't disappoint and gives you the happy ending, then I thoroughly recommend it. As with all Trisha Ashley books, they're all really good. Just like sometimes you just need that kind of a book. Do you know what I mean? The next book I read was my chance card for this month, and it was a new to you author. So I read Endless Numbers Days by Claire Fuller. I think this I think it was about 2016, maybe 2017, that this was around Booktube. A lot of people read it. I bought it, had it on my shelves for a while, but I never read it, and I'm really glad I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It follows the story of Peggy, who lives in the UK, but her mother is a German concert pianist, and it's set in the 1970s, and Peggy's father starts to become a little bit strange. He starts to become obsessed with the end of the world, you know, that either some natural or man-made disaster is going to mean that we're going to have to become survivalists. So he has this group of cronies where they start planning and building stores for this event to happen. You can obviously get from this that the relationship between Peggy's parents is deteriorating somewhat, and it comes to a head where Peggy's mum decides to go off on a concert tour in Germany, but at a whim, and Peggy didn't know what was happening. One day she was there, one day she was not, and her father then, Peggy's father then, takes her on this epic journey where they actually end up in a little hut in the forest somewhere in Germany, and there they live for several years, and it follows Peggy's story living with her father. I don't want to give too much away, but he convinces her that they're the only 2 people left on the planet and that the world has ended. And yeah, it's a good read. It's a very interesting read. It's quite dark, But yeah, and I felt very invested in the characters and Peggy, who becomes Punzel because her father wraps it all up in the stories of fairy tales. So yeah, I do recommend it. It was a good read, a good solid read. And yeah, I would definitely pick up more books by Claire Fuller in the future. And then finally, I read the 3rd volume of I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young, where, you know, it's just an irreverent, fun, mad read where Gert is trapped in Fairyland trying to get out. In this volume, she tries to become a good, and as you can imagine, if you've read any of these, it doesn't go so well. And I just love it. It's just a fun, silly read and full of gore and violence, but in a fun kind of way. So yeah, it's just a nice bit of escapism as well. So yeah, I'll definitely carry on with the series, and if you're looking for a bit of fun, I do recommend this series to you. If you've not read any graphic novels before either, I think it would be a good one to get into if you just want a bit of a laugh. So that's what I've read so far in January. I'm quite pleased with my progress so far. I'm actually really pleased to be back into reading after having kind of a slumpy hiatus and busy, hectic work life where reading sort of had to go to one side. And so yeah, so that's where I'm up to. So let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know how you're getting on. Let's chat. I will see you all soon, BookTube. Keep reading. Bye.